today we're going to mount the GoPowerWheels. I'm using two different wheels. Actually, I'm going to zoom over here. I got my front wheel already mounted. I wanted to try and use both of the same size tire, these 13 5x6s. But you'll see later why I had to go with a different tread pattern on the front, because this big old fatty wouldn't fit between the front forks. So this is what one looks like assembled. They'll send you the hardware and everything. Different tread pattern, but that's okay. That's all I could do to get this. Was all I could put in there because the front forks are so narrow. But I'm going to show you my setup, how I mount the back one. Oh, before I forget, if you get these and you want the new fancy insert, say you got a mini bike and you got a big old fatty race bike or whatever, you want to stick a big tire on the back, this is the insert that they have. I didn't show you on a previous video. This is like a 1-inch spacer. See if I can put this together while holding the camera, not make it all look retarded. There we go. Just like so. It's got locking pins. Flip this wheel over. You got locking pins everywhere on 3 spots. So let's take this back apart. See if we can do this like this. All right. That locks in like place. You take your other wheel half. Let's see. Trying to look in the camera at the same time. And get it to lock in there. There we go. Is it locked in? Boom. And it's locked in. So now you can stick you a big old fatty on the back if you got a race bike or something. And like I said, I'm using bearings, but they do have these wheels, the GoPowerWheel. If let's say you had it on the back of a go-kart, you want to stick you some big old slicks on it. They have this rim that is for a live axle. So meaning instead of having bearings in here, they have this machined where it's got a keyway in it. You just slide this on, put your keyway on, so you can put it on a live axle on the go-kart. So that's very handy. Like I said, if you want the spacer, I'm not using it in my application, obviously, because I don't have enough room. If I did have room, I'd definitely try this and put a big old tire on it. But we're going to kick that over there, put that back in the packaging. They send them in a nice bubble wrap for you so they don't get banged up. But I'm going to use that for a later project. But this is what I got lined out. I'm going to leave you a link for all the part numbers in the description below. So if you have a mini bike and haven't seen anybody do a video on these yet to mount a sprocket on it, I'm going to show you how I did it. Might not be the correct way, but I think it's going to be very functional. It's going to be safe. I don't think I'm going to have an issue with anything. And get this here fancy sticker out of the way. This is GoPower Sport Sprocket. Leave your description below. Now, when you get this sprocket, it will not look like this. It does come with the pre-drilled holes. Got a little glare. Got pre-drilled holes in the center, and the slots were already pre-drilled. These outer holes right here, yeah, that's some of my fancy work. I figured I'd do that to kind of incorporate the look of the wheel, and instead of having just a plain sprocket. But anyway, let me see if we can educate you on how I did this. Down inside here, you have, you can see where I drilled the hole. So flip this other rim over. Down inside this other rim, let's see if we can zoom in on it a little bit. All right, you see the little dimple parts right inside here. Get my finger down here. These are little recessed dimple areas down inside here. So what I did is I just put this on a flat surface on the drill press. Got my drill bit right inside here, and I drilled these out for 5/16 holes. They're kind of recessed. So I picked the 4 that lined up with my sprocket. Basically, I set my sprocket up here, got everything kind of jigged up, and I used these 2 holes right here, and the outer hole lined up perfectly when I drilled these out. So this is one I've already drilled. As you can see, roll it around here. You can already see the holes in it right there. Did 2 here, and then 2 on the opposite side. I think 4 holes with bolts. If you secure it good enough, I think it'll be just fine. So that's what I did in that particular case to line everything up. Now, spacers, I made my own spacers. This is actually out of these are lawnmower axle spacer tubes, I think, out of some kind of lawnmower axle that I had. So I just put them on a bandsaw. I make sure to get them all the same length. Or close to it, and so your sprocket and everything sits on your rim, and you're not all wobbly. So you will have to come up with an idea, make your own spacers. I guess you could use washers if you like. I got some 5/16 bolts, some lock nuts, and lock washers. So I'm gonna get this thing set up on a tripod, and I'm gonna show you, or try to show you, how I put all this together, and hopefully this video will work out for you. So if you want to pick you up a set of these and you got an old bike, I think they're really gonna look very cool. I love these wheels. I think they're gonna look very cool on an old school bike. So let me get this thing set up, and we'll see if we can show you how to put this wheel assembly together. All right, well, let's see if we can make this wheel assembly. I already put my tube in here. I've got a little bit of air in it just to help keep its form in the tire so I don't get any pinchage in the tube. And I want to make sure that my tread pattern's going in the right direction, and I want my valve stem on the right hand side so it's not back here behind the sprocket. So I've got to make sure and keep that in the right orientation. So let's see here. What I'm going to go ahead and do, set this to the side, is this is going to be my sprocket side. I already got my bearings in it for the axle size I'm going to use, and right here in between their circles that machined in here is a little aluminum lip. I went ahead and shaved that down just a little bit. Not that you're really going to see it because the sprocket's going to be covering everything, but I want to make sure my spacers that I made set flush on the rim right there instead of being set up on that little bitty edge. So I went ahead and just took a cookie thing on my air grinder and shaved that aluminum down on the 4 spots where my spacers are going to go. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead, got my bearing in, I'm going to go ahead and line my spacers up. Some of the old go-kart wheels, I remember back in the day, you put them together like this. Got my sprocket here. Go ahead and take my 4 bolts and line it up. Try and keep from scratching my paint. My rattle can job. Drop the 4 bolts down in the holes, just like so. Then I got 4 lock washers and nuts. So I'm gonna just grab this, flip it over, put my lock washers on, or you could use lock nuts if you had them, but I just had these handy, so we're just going to use washers and nuts to be fine. Make sure and get them all good and tight. Get my sausage fingers in here to work. Ah, that one fell. Come on. Let's try it one more time. Put the washer back on. So we start the nut. All right. Get these all good and started. Everything should be good and square, lined up. Now I'm going to go ahead and tighten all these 4 bolts. I'm just going to kind of run them down, snug them all a little bit, and then go back over them. That way everything sits good and true. Like I said, your spacers that you make is going to be, that's all going to determine how much space you have. Now this old bike had a real narrow rear tire, so I was kind of limited on space. So luckily I had the old one, and I kind of basically went off that far as measurement. And of course the new GoPowerWheel and this tire are way different in dimensions, so I had to kind of fudge a little bit of stuff and took a little bit of measuring. So it's not that hard. Like I said, you can make your spacers out of whatever you have laying around, some tubing. The main thing is to make sure that all your spacers, when you make them, are all the same length. And actually, I do believe GoPowerSports has a wheel spacer kit. Might want to check into that. I'm pretty sure they do. So you could use those if you had room for it. You could always order that kit, and if you got to shave them down or add a washer to it, you could do that. But the main thing is to make sure that they're all the same length, because if you got one that's a little bit longer than the other one, then you're going to have sprocket alignment issues. You know, you don't want your sprocket all cattywampus, then your chain's not going to line up right. So look into that kit there. But basically that's how I did that. Like I said, I did this fancy hole drilling work because I thought it would look cool. I wanted to see more of that fancy wheel sticking through there. So now that I got this done, I'm going to lay this down here. and make sure I get my tube and everything. I want tube treads going that way, tube's going to stick out the right side. So we're going to go ahead and put this down here. We're going to use a little bit of dishwashing soap, kind of make this a little slippery. The first time I mocked this up, I had to use a old zip tie trick to squish this big old fat tire onto the rim. But since I already had it on there once, it might go pretty easy. Let's see, let me double check. Sprocket. All right, we're going to ease this right down inside here. Just like so. And I don't want to go in there very good. Might have to show you the zip tie trick I used. These are the bolts that I'm going to use. I'm using stainless steel bolts just because I had them. But when you get the kit, it'll come with your hardware. Let's see if this is going to go good. All right, then you align your other notch right here in the rim for your valve stem to come through. Let's see, and when you're putting together, you'll kind of feel it lock into place. Yeah, this one might not have to use the old valve stem trick. All right, is it gonna line up? I think so. All right, I'm gonna drop this is the kind of tricky part. There's an octagon shape, of course, for your nut that goes down inside there. You gotta drop these down in there. Oh, that one went perfect. Drop one down in this hole. That one didn't go perfect. Just take you a small screwdriver, flip that nut in there so it goes right into its location. Show you on this one right here. Goes right inside, just like how it is right here. So I'm gonna drop all three nuts in, is what I'm doing here. Let's see, one there, one there. We need one in that hole. There we go. And this is kind of a tricky part where you almost need another set of hands. But I just stick my finger down inside there, and the rim falls out, and the other nut falls out. To get these started, it's kind of the tricky part. Might have to do the old zip tie trick again. Yep, let's go ahead and do the zip tie trick because everything's falling apart. All right, what I did with these zip ties is I run zip ties through it, through the wheel, and squish the wheel together. Now, when I did the front tire, since it was a lot narrower tire, it was real easy. Everything just fell right together. But this tire is a pretty big old tire for a mini bike, and it can be a little tricky getting it on. But if it was easy, everybody'd be doing it, right? But hey, mini biking ain't easy. I can tell y'all. Where's it at? There it is. Had to do this on some other bikes before, trying to stick a big old fat tire on a narrow rim. So this just squishes it down. I get everything lined up, dowel pin wise. Let's see, my valve stem good, valve stem's good. Now I'll just take these, get them tight. Everything still look good, no pinching in there for the tube. Double checking the holes. And it's lined up. There we go. Double check this here. I'm making sure that my rim is going together good. Of course, it's got big notches for it to lock in, but everything fits good. All right, now I can get the bolts in there a lot easier and tighten everything down. So that's your tech tip for the day, zip ties. Drop one back there. All right, let's see if I can stick my finger in there and get this one started. Where's my Allen wrench? And I'm gonna do these the same way. I'm just gonna get them snugged. Stick my finger in there and hold the nut. Bolt in from the back, this side. Get that one snugged. All right, let's see. Gonna drop one more nut back here. Oh, it fell right in. Hold it with my finger. Get the bolt started. Make sure you don't cross thread nothing. All right, and I'm just gonna go ahead and tighten all these up. Make sure you got them good and tight. Go over one more time. There we go. That's tight. And one more right there. Good deal. Let me cut these zip ties off. Trying to scratch the rim. Get that out of the way. Boom. There you go, folks. All we need to do now is seat the tire on the rim, and we're good to go. Got nice spacing, because this tire does have a good fat sidewall to it, so I had to make sure I got it spaced out so I don't get no chain rub. So this thing here, shoot some air in it, and we are ready to put it on the mini bike. So there you go. You got your set of GoPowerWheels. This is the way I did it to mount it when I mocked everything up and put the chain on it. And I made sure I had enough room for the clearance for my spacers, but chain tracked real nice and smooth. So there you go. That's the GoPowerWheel. We're gonna put this on the old bird.